Flick off your jandals, crack a cold one from the chili bin, chuck on some cans, and enjoy a Kiwi take on all things Arsenal.
Hello and welcome along to another week of the Arsenal New Zealand podcast. Dylan here with Corey up in Wellington. And how are you, mate?
Pretty good. How are you?
Fantastic. Mike's away,
Awesome.
crook, so we're just filling in. I think we're all a bit crook, actually, but some of us persevere through.
We're a healthy bunch. We're about as healthy as most of our midfielders at the moment, but I'm sure we'll get to that.
Yeah, we're just as desperate for transfers as the club, it seems, at the moment. But yeah, lots happening, lots to talk about. So if anyone watching in the chat has any questions, has anything to say, feel free to chuck it in the chat, share your thoughts. Everything's just going nicely at the moment. There shouldn't be any negativity in the chat, I wouldn't expect. Mike, no. I don't think he's going to be in the chat, so it should be nice and positive. But yeah, anyone got any comments or any questions, just chuck it in and we'll get to them throughout the show. But I guess let's just start with the match that we just went through on the weekend, Arsenal versus Fulham, 2-1 to the Arsenal. What were your thoughts, Gez, we went through the match, Corey?
Yeah, I think it was it was a bit of a white knuckle airlines kind of match for the first hour. There was a bit of, here we go again kind of thing. And then obviously when they scored, it was like, okay, shit's getting real. Now we're going to find out how well the team's developed or not compared to last season. And I think in the ensuing 30-odd minutes, we found out exactly that.
Yeah, it's one thing that I guess been good from the start of the season is there's just been a couple of clear and obvious signs of improvement, isn't there? Obviously, we can see it in the fact that we're 4 from 4 wins and we're scoring goals and we're not conceding that many goals. But the fact that we're coming from behind, which we I think only did once last year against Wolves, and I think the crazy stat that they showed the other day was the first time we've been behind after halftime and come back to win in about maybe 8 years. I think it was 2013 they showed. Yeah. So it's clear and obvious signs of improvement, which is good to see. I hope that I'm showing up on the stream. I think my internet might be a little slow tonight, so I hope I'm showing. And can you hear me? You can hear me, you just can't see me?
No, we can't see you.
You can see me. That's probably not a good thing. You probably, I haven't got a face for the camera.
It's a pretty grainy average photo, but that's okay.
But we'll get through it. Hopefully. But yeah, I mean, the first half, from what I saw, we were clearly on top though. It wasn't a game where, we went behind in the second half first, but we never felt like they were really putting us under any pressure. We controlled that first half, and I think their first shot on target as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, definitely. It was a continuation, I guess, of what we've seen since the beginning of the season in terms of how we played. Was interesting to see a bit more of KT, and obviously the difference that we'd have in midfield with Big Mo in the middle there, roaming around, doing what he does. But to be fair, we didn't really, I think, find ourselves in too many situations where we were under a whole lot of stress, which was reassuring. But yeah, it was just more the point that whilst we were dominating and we were kind of playing the football that we wanted to play, we just couldn't get the old ball in the back of the net.
Yeah, it was very much feeling like, for me, one of those days where the goalkeeper has a world-class display. He wasn't the greatest on the day, but just everything seemed to go to him, to Leno, or he's just in the right spot at the right time. But thankfully, in the end, we did get some through, but I guess go back to the start. Were you worried when you saw the lineups? How are you feeling when it comes to starting lineups these days? Are you relaxed leading up to kickoff, no matter what, or do you get a bit worried when you see some of the key players have missed out due to injury?
Yeah, I mean, I was a little. I don't know if I was worried, but Fulham, the Fulham that's come up this season isn't the same Fulham that came up a couple of years ago. They're clearly, and they've demonstrated again today. They're not the same relegation fodder that they were. So, it was really good to see. I guess the fact that we did have a couple of players out. One player who's key, particularly in midfield, to how we play and how we tick, and another who's added a whole lot in the new season since we brought him in from City in terms of what he allows us to do with that position compared to KT, who doesn't quite allow us to do the same thing. So it was interesting to see the impacts that had. And whilst we weren't the same, we were still effective. We were still dominant. We just didn't quite finish off some of the chances that we had in the first half.
Yeah, it felt to me like because I think it was very late on in the week where the injuries occurred. I think it was Friday afternoon training. So it did feel a little rushed with, Kieran and El Neni coming into the team. And it kind of felt like, especially with El Neni for me, it felt like the midfield, we kind of tried to just bypass it.
Yeah.
Where normally, you'd see Partey on the ball first and be sort of our main feeder forward. But it just looked like we were almost going out of our way to, it's not that it's not a strength of his, because we know he can play forward passes. We've seen it a couple of times last season, but it's not his main strength.
His game is a lot more, he just gives the ball. He needs to, as soon as he's got it, he wants rid of it. He's not going to get the ball, turn, lift his head, see what's happening, and then make a decision as to what he's going to do with it. El Neni's very much his priority is to recycle and not get caught with the ball. And he didn't get caught with the ball. And it's, again, it's similar to the left back scenario. And I'm not suggesting for a minute that Mo El Neni's on the same kind of level as Partey. He's not, but he plays the role very differently. And that's obviously going to impact some of the other players around him. And it did. But I was pleased to see that it didn't impact us as a team too drastically in terms of what we wanted to do with the ball and holding possession and creating overloads and dominating the opposition.
Yeah. I guess, obviously, things have changed in the last couple of days with, past the game as well, which we'll get onto in terms of injuries and stuff. But I guess it's also nice to see that we've got the extra players in the squad now. However, many that is, whether we're still short or not, that's another conversation. But we're not seeing Arteta do makeshift decisions, like Xhaka and left back, or he's not moving players out of position to cover. We've got like for like in each position. Yet. Not yet, no.
We'll see what happens in about 10 and a half hours' time.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how it goes. Because, from what I saw today, Zinchenko is not playing tomorrow. He's still out. So whether that's not right still, or they're just keeping him for Man U on the weekend. But it's going to be one of those games where Tierney, maybe he'll be better with a couple of days to actually practice. Because again, with it being so late on the Friday afternoon and him being sort of rushed into the starting 11, he was sort of forced to play that role as opposed to the team maybe adapting in a week's training to play around his strengths.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it'll be, if nothing else, it'll be really intriguing to see what Arteta does, but more importantly, how we play as a result of whatever decisions he.
Isn't it just nice to have these conversations though, without having to stress, we were having these conversations last year after the Man City game, and it's much harder to have these conversations and think of what he's going to do when we've already lost the first 3 games. So
Absolutely.
it's definitely much nicer, isn't it, to have
and things
these
are a lot more
problems.
positive.
Yeah. I mean, going into the first half into more detail, I guess, we did have chances, not as many as maybe we're grown used to, but Odegaard sort of ran the show again on the weekend. And I guess the first real chance was the Xhaka, which came from an Odegaard cross where Jesus knocked back. Maybe could have done a bit better, Xhaka, but I mean, he's still getting into the box, isn't he? He's definitely our box-to-box midfielder that we've always dreamed of.
Yeah, and he's doing what Wenger said he could do right at the beginning. Although most of us laughed in the ensuing 5 years, we've hardly ever seen anything like it until recently. It's like when you don't put him in a position where he's got to make crazy defensive decisions.
I guess that's the worry going into the next couple of games, isn't it? Especially the big one against United. Football. Let's hope that with the injuries that it's not forcing him to go into more of a defensive role, because I mean, he's clearly suited to this type of play where there's no risk of him getting caught out, not having to be facing his own goal in our own half, which he's shown many times is not going to work out well for us. So
it enables him to play to his strengths, and obviously reduces, if not eliminates, the exposure of his weaknesses, which namely is that he turns about as slow as something that turns really, really slowly, like a big ship.
So in terms of other players, Saka, do you think he was still a little bit quiet? He looked pretty good in the first half, but really good chance as well where he was put through on goal 1-on-1 and just couldn't get it around, bend it around Leno. But he's still just, it looks like maybe he's got to the point where, because I think it's been about 21 hours since his last goal. Do you think he's got to the point now where he's maybe just overthinking? Because everything in the lead up seems to be the normal sort of Saka. It seems to be just his last sort of decision making that's letting him down now.
I think it's a bit, and don't take this the wrong way, it's not a personal criticism, but I think it's a bit simplistic to just look at Saka and go, oh, he's not performing how he did. What's wrong with him? He's crap. 2 points. The first point is it sounds like the new contract signing's imminent, so he will become like a new signing. So he's got a plateau beforehand, and then he'll be like a new signing. But the second and more serious point, I think, is the fact that other parts of the team have evolved as well. So whereas we were so reliant on him and have been so reliant on him creatively for the last season and a half, 2 seasons almost, that pressure's not there now to the same degree, and the guy's, he's still a kid, so I think I wouldn't mind betting, if not assuming, it's a relatively, I wouldn't even say it's a conscious thing, it's just the fact that the team's starting to evolve around him, and some of the other players and other parts of the team are starting to function a lot more effectively than what they have done in the last couple of seasons, certainly since Arteta came in. Odegaard in particular, as he commented, and as we've all seen, has started running games a lot more efficiently than what he probably has done previously, and he's been able to, and that's fantastic. So I think it's just a part of the evolution of the team. If we're having this same conversation in 2 or 3 months' time, then it might be slightly more of a concern from my perspective. But as things stand, I'm just waiting for him to spark up, and I have no doubt the next week or two he will.
It's like I was reading something about. I was reading about fantasy and the likes of Salah. hasn't scored a goal this year, or maybe one goal. He's been very quiet. And for all the
because I
people
had him
like
in my
myself,
FPL team when they.
well, I was going to
scored
say,
nine
for everyone
goals.
else like me who had him in the fantasy league
Yeah,
and watched Liverpool score 9 and he got nothing,
not even an
he's
assist.
still getting into those attacking positions and threatening positions, and it's just not falling for him. And it's sort of the same for Saka at the moment. He's still there. It's just
and they
not
still ask
falling his
questions of
way.
the opposition.
And I was going to say, yeah, like you said, like the whole team around him now. Yeah, last year we were crying out for someone to be on the other side to pose a threat.
Down the left, and for Odegaard to take more responsibility. And
I mean, the concern there,
striker that can do, that can work.
As a unit, the attack is much stronger.
Definitely.
And I don't think there's too many concerns. I mean, the only concern for me for Saka is what happens in the next 2 days, with Pepe going out, Nelson injured seemingly, although I think someone said he was back in training, but he's not going to be close to the first team, I don't think. Who's going to rotate? It's all going to come down to rotating with bigger games on the horizon. And we're coming into a period, I think October's got 9 games for Arsenal, 6th in the league, 3 in Europa, and he can't play 9 games out of 9. And it's just not going to happen. Daniel's asking, does he need to rest players against Villa? And I mean, it's going to be interesting because you just don't know with Arteta, because he's got a bit of the Pepe where you just don't know who he's going to play sometimes. He does like to be a bit consistent if it's going well, but in saying that, with injuries and with, you don't know if he's going to, this early in the season, feel like anyone needs to rest. We're only 4 games into the season and we haven't started Europe yet. So, he might be thinking that it's still too early. They can just keep going. There are players, I think, like Jesus, like Xhaka, and probably most of the defense can probably keep playing. But maybe the players more like, Martinelli and Saka, especially when we've got some younger players and good players still on the bench, that maybe he can rest them.
And there's also the 5 substitutes thing. So it's not simply the who starts and who sits. So
no, exactly.
It'll be really interesting to see what he does. And I wonder, what his choices might have been. I mean, we'll never know now what his choices might have been had we maintained a fit squad going into tomorrow. So I don't doubt that'll have an impact. I guess the big question for me is how much of an impact is it going to have, and what other changes might we still see?
Yeah, no, for sure. And I guess, that'll all depend on the next couple of days as well in the transfer. So I guess going into the second half is where it sort of came to life a bit in terms of goal scoring. Bit of a sloppy goal to give away, not just on the Gabriel mistake, but I guess the whole lead up to the play as well, with the throw in and the pass across goal, which for players like us who aren't very good would be a no-no, but I guess they've got confidence in themselves to play out like that. But definitely got it wrong on this occasion for whatever reason that may be. But
Gabby did provide some feedback.
Sorry?
Gabby did provide some feedback.
Yeah, I saw that. I mean, it comes down to, like we said before, were they purposely or subconsciously just avoiding the midfield? Because in the previous games you would have seen him go into midfield, whether it would be Zinchenko or Partey making an option in front of him. But on this occasion, and then he wasn't really an option, or if he was, he obviously didn't go to him. And Tierney was out wide, which I guess would have been the safer option, but he was just looking like his first touch, Gabriel took him inside, which didn't really make much sense. Which obviously brought him back into the Mitrovic's area, which I think Mitrovic is he's going to score a lot of goals this year.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we can always guarantee a goal for good bottom of the table or mid-table strikers. But no, he's definitely going to score a lot of goals.
And he's going to scare a lot of defenders.
What is
again, it's like Fulham compared to a couple of years ago. They didn't really have a bit of a clue. Now they've got a coach who does have a clue, and he set them up to play to their strengths. Mitrovic is one of their key strengths.
Yes. And, I guess that's something we've missed as well, is having a striker that you can sort of shape your actual whole game around. And that's what they do perfectly. They've got a big, mean-looking striker up top who can knock just about anyone off the ball. And when he does get the ball in front, just about most of the time, 9 out of 10, he's going to put it in the back of the net. And I think he's already up to 4 or 5 goals for the season. So, yeah, no surprise that he got on the score sheet. Maybe a little surprised or disappointed in how he got on the score sheet, but definitely not surprised.
I think it's fine. I mean, for me, and it's easy in hindsight because we ended up scoring more goals than they did. But our defensive unit, as a unit, will learn a lot from that. The whole team will, So it's a pretty cheap lesson.
And I guess being a young team, we know this is going to happen. And I guess the other positive is, and I've seen other podcasts talking about it as well the last couple of days, is all our goals this year are really coming from individual mistakes.
Yeah.
It's not coming from how we're actually playing. It's just individual mistakes. We were on top of the game and someone messed up. That's a bit easier to fix than if the whole structure's in pieces.
Definitely.
So, I mean, it's not too concerning, and it helps when you win the game. We saw with Saliba's own goal, it's a bit easier to take and a bit easier to get behind the team when they go down within 5 minutes and score at the other end.
And it helps the team grow.
Yeah, I mean, I think what we've seen, they're all learning from their mistakes. They're not making the same mistakes over and over. So we can only trust that, when they do make the mistakes, that they're learning from it. So
I thought I was going to have to sound the trust the process alarm there for a minute.
No, I wouldn't say that. Do we have an alarm? I didn't know we had an alarm. Get a little bell. Get a cowbell or something.
It's your job. For the next week, we need an alarm.
But yeah, I mean, going on to our goals, again, like I said, it's nice to get a goal back very quickly. No one dropped their heads. The crowd was behind them. And it was I know it was a deflection, but it was a well-taken goal as well, wasn't it?
Definitely. It was a very well-taken goal.
And it's nice that he's been shooting a bit more. That's what happens when you shoot, isn't it? When you just, instead of looking for a pass, deflections happen. Yeah.
If only he can build a bit of confidence to shoot with his other foot, then, we'll really be making some progress.
Yeah, I think there's a few players in our team that could get a bit of confidence in their weaker foot, from what I've seen the last couple of weeks. But no, it was a very well taken goal. Nice play from the back as well. So I think that came through. Was it Saliba to Saka? And then on to Odegaard. So yeah, I mean, and that's another player we haven't mentioned yet as well, is Saliba. I mean, do you have to mention him? It's just week after week consistency.
I think everyone else does. So
Yeah, I mean,
there's not a lot we can add.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much to talk about, is there, when everyone's covered it? But I mean, not a bad player.
No.
When
you look at what some other clubs are throwing around at the moment for defenders in their early 20s, we've done all right so far. Long may it continue.
Yes, long may it continue in the next couple of days in the transfer market. We could do with a few more young first-team ready players on the cheap.
Well, I don't think we'll be getting a few more.
No. So Nketiah came on after that goal. No, he came on, before the goal. He came on after the Fulham goal.
For Tierney,
yeah. He changed the game in a good way, didn't he?
He really impressed me. Not to say that he hasn't impressed me before, but just he really did his job he did what I kind of hoped I would see him do towards the end of last season, but he kind of didn't. Just in terms of the energy, the enterprise, he really added something to the team when we needed it, and he put the opposition under stress. He made them have to react. And whilst he didn't get the goal that, you could quite easily argue that he probably deserved, I think he and his boss will be very, very happy with his work. I think he did really, really well.
Yeah, and I guess this kind of covers what I was going to say was, does he get a start tomorrow? Did he do enough in the last couple of weeks when he's come on? I know certainly on the weekend he added a lot of energy, a lot of good running off the ball. I mean, he's probably the first in line for a start if we're resting, isn't he?
Well, it depends who you're resting.
Well, that's, I guess, maybe another part of the question is where can he play? If we're resting Saka, I think in preseason he showed he can come from the left, or do we go two up top? Or
but
what are your thoughts?
It's one thing coming on in the last half an hour of a match when you're a goal down and you need to score, coming on the left, or coming on with two up top, but it's quite different starting a Premier League game. And I wouldn't think that Arteta, he's going to have to change some things tomorrow, undoubtedly, whether he likes to or not. I don't see him making a whole lot more changes than what he needs to, and I certainly don't see him making major tactical changes unless he really has to, such as putting two up top or playing with a back three or any of those sorts of things. Not this early, and not for, as I said, not at the start of a match. I think Nketiah can certainly start if Jesus is rested, but I can't see Jesus getting rested. Not at the start of the match. Not yet.
Yeah, I guess it's one of those things where it's I'm glad I'm not in a position to have to make that call.
And I don't think if he was going to start on the left, if Martinelli was going to rest, which again I'm not sure he is, although he did cramp a bit towards the end of the Fulham match, I don't think Nketiah would start ahead of. I think Smith Rowe would probably get that opportunity beforehand. But
we'll see in a few hours.
Things have happened.
Yeah. So going on to the goal, the last goal, the winner. I mean, I guess in the build-up, so it came from the corner. This is really, because I think this season has been one of our strengths. Like, this whole game felt like our corners were just off, didn't it?
Yeah.
I don't think any of the corners in the game really were the quality needed, especially the deliveries. But that last one was, I guess, it only takes one, and this one was put in the exact spot we needed, and it just fell perfectly. Did you I feel like we're targeting him a bit, because I think he's never really been the strongest in the air. He's never been a commanding of his 6-yard box. So I feel like, because what we had Saliba and Gabriel basically on top of him for that corner, it kind of felt like that was the aim of maybe the day, was just stick our big defensive players, in front of the keeper and hope he spilt it, which, I guess if that was the plan, it paid off nicely at the end.
Yeah. And why wouldn't, we know what the guy's strengths are. We know what his weaknesses are. And every man and his dog that's ever watched Burnley in the last 5 years knows that his strengths aren't commanding and dominating and moving forward in his area, particularly when there's a crowd around him.
Yeah.
So it would almost be negligent if we didn't try and make something out of that. Aside from that, he also showed what his strengths were. He pulled off some really good saves.
He did.
Without a doubt. But
I mean, it was certainly good
Always
business
been a
for
bit
Fulham.
suspect
Like
in certain areas.
he's going to be, very important for them for this season. And like I said, I'm just glad we got through the game without. It was, like I said, shaping up like it was going to be one of those days where we just couldn't get it past him. You know, a returning player, keeper in particular, just having
It's
one of
kind of
those
the
games.
script.
It is. It's always been that way in the last year. It's the way it goes against Arsenal. But no, it was good to do that, and it was good for Gabriel to be the one to get the goal, right?
Yeah, it was awesome. You know, just seeing the guys get around him, and obviously the crowd. It's fantastic.
I know. I mean, I know there's been a lot of conversation about the celebrations.
Yeah.
Are you a celebration police deputy, or are you pro celebration?
I think the celebration police are hilarious. I get almost as much joy out of the celebration police as what I do out of actually celebrating. But yeah, celebrate all you want. It's awesome.
I know. I mean, it just doesn't make sense, does it?
No.
Especially for, I mean, I don't think anyone's getting carried away in Arsenal, but we know the journey we're on. We know what we've been through.
But any club or team.
Well, yeah, any club, yeah. But it doesn't make much sense. But
yeah,
what can you do?
There's a really good comment from Laura Woods on TalkSport a couple of days ago about it, which is about 3 minutes if you get the chance to see it or hear it. And it's she hit the nail pretty well on the head. But it's just saying, that's what sport is. It's emotion, it's passion, it's fun, and it's not always about the numbers on the spreadsheet.
I was going to say, if you go away from a football game with a voice, you've done wrong.
Exactly.
I don't think I've walked away from a football game before without having some sort of croaky voice the next day.
Definitely.
But no, I mean, it's like I said, we've covered it, but it's just nice to know that we've got that in us now. That it's all about getting that monkey off the back and growing as a team, and being able to come back from a goal down in the second half, in particular, was really good to see. And look, we're going into Villa tomorrow morning in positive frame of mind. There has been a few little hiccups this week, but are you confident going into tomorrow, even with the injuries?
And just before we kind of get into that, it's the difference between thinking you can do it and knowing you can do it. So now this team, not just after what we had, what was last year, but they know if we go 1-0 down, there might only be half an hour left in the match. We can come back and get 3 points. We've done it. We don't think we can do it. We don't hope we can do it. We've done it against a pretty well-organised Premier League team. Not the strongest one out there, but not the crappiest one either. So it's good experience to have.
Yeah, no, for sure. So yeah, on to Villa tomorrow. Was it 6:30 start in the morning, New Zealand time? So I'd imagine everyone's getting up for it. I know I will be. You confident going into it with the injuries?
Yeah, I think we have every reason to be confident. They're under pressure. We'll be under different kinds of pressure, not to the same degree. And from what we've seen, certainly in the first 4 games from either team, we're playing at home. If we play our football, whatever that might look like with the personnel that we've got on the pitch at the time, then there's no reason to think we won't get another 3 points. It's simple, really.
Yeah, they definitely are under a bit of pressure, aren't they? They've lost to Bournemouth, Crystal Palace, and West Ham, who I'd say only Crystal Palace are doing decent at the moment, and then they only beat Everton, so they're not exactly in red hot form. And for all the money they've spent and the players they brought in with Coutinho and Buendia, they're not really performing, which is great to see because we were linked to them for so much. But but like you said, if we go into it playing our way, I mean, I don't see how they can stop us. It's not that I'm concerned, but it's going to be interesting. How we've said already, like how he lines up the team. Does Sambi come in? I think Mike had a question about that. I don't think Zinchenko is going to be back for tomorrow by the sounds of it. So, who do we want in that number 6 role? Who do we want to do it? And I guess if we're going by,
I don't think we play either of those.
So who do you think going into the game that we're going to see into the midfield? Do you think Zach is going to go more side of defensively and move, say, someone like Odegaard back, which hasn't worked in the past, or do you think another way?
No, I think the path of least resistance and least disruption, given that we've already got levels of disruption anyway, and Zinchenko's not going to be playing by the sound of it. Sorry, Mike. So, and without having to necessitate too much more disruption than there's already going to be, I think you put Sambi in there, and say, look, Sambi, mate, you wanted your chance to play. Here's your chance. Take it. Show us what you got.
Yeah, I definitely think that makes more sense. I mean, I don't like Ben White. I think, why change a backline that's working? I mean, I think he might have played for, was it Brighton or whoever he was with before that in the midfield. But again, like you said, and like we said before, like it's good if he avoids making too many drastic changes. It'll be much better to do like for like. And I know they're probably, Sambi may not be maybe more out and out 6 like El Neni and Party, but he's more natural.
And I might have a different opinion if we're playing stronger opposition. If we're playing Liverpool or City or something. I mean, I don't know what it would be, but it might be different. But we're not. We're playing Villa. So
at home as well, which
that said,
I think makes a huge
at home
difference.
with an awesome crowd, 4 out of 4. I think if you're ever going to give Sambi a start, if you don't give him one tomorrow, then just
may as well sort out a loan for him if you're not going to play him, isn't it?
Yeah, get rid of him so he can get some playing time. Because otherwise, what's he doing here? If he's not developing, then get him some game time somewhere because he needs it.
Yeah, no, I tend to agree. I mean, and I guess from a point of view of who our midfielders are, what depth we have, he's the most proven in a sense. Like I don't see Arteta rushing in to put a Xhaka and Vieira combo.
Yeah.
I don't see him rushing to put a new number 8 in there.
He is a central midfielder. We need a central midfielder, and you can debate about the attributes between a 4, a 6, and an 8, and and that's fine. And he's not a direct fit for Thomas Partey, but no one else in the Premier League is either, really, except for Ronaldinho, probably. Fernandinho.
I was going to say Ronaldinho. I'm pretty sure doesn't play in the Premier League anymore.
Yeah,
ever.
He was pretty useful in his day, but yeah. So yeah, I mean, I think it's Sambi time. Give him a crack. We've all seen.
Yeah, I mean, if there's ever going to be a game,
or nothing. So.
Yeah, if there's ever going to be a game, it makes sense to be a home game against a Villa side really struggling at the moment. So, look, we'll see. I mean, it's only. Sorry.
If there's doubts that he's up to it, and obviously there is, then we bring someone in the transfer window to shore up. That's a more of a fit to what we might need.
Yeah, and I think that's
fine.
I think we'll probably finish off the chat today with the transfer window, because there does seem to be like a little bit of work to do now with the injuries. Starting 11, you'd think outside of the defensive midfielder, any other changes you foresee or want to see?
None that I want to see. I mean, I think Tierney will start. I hope he'll start. Maybe if there is going to be a change for rotation's sake, a little more, it could be Tommy starting and Ben White having a rest, given that we're playing at home. Save him for Man United. And if we're going to rotate one of the other two, then he might move into centre back when we go up to Old Trafford. But aside from that, I don't really see or hope to see too many changes, if any.
Yeah,
What do you think?
It depends on, again, like with it being Kieran Tierney, if he's going to play his natural game, which is bombing down the wing and crossing, maybe there's a thought of Martinelli doesn't suit that as much as, say, maybe someone like Smith Rowe, who can go more inside and give the space to Tierney. If Tierney's going to be sort of molded into that Zinchenko role, then obviously, Martinelli. I'm not saying he needs to be dropped. He's playing well, but in terms of having a rest, he might be a natural rest. Played a rest with a Man U game coming up.
Or does he go to the right and Saka has a rest?
Well, that too. I mean, I think one of the wingers will need to rest. We can't, I don't think, push them too hard. Saka is my big concern.
Martinelli was spent at the end of the last game.
Yeah, I mean, Martinelli as well. Like, he's always had a couple of niggles. And it's kept him out for longer periods. Saka obviously is my main concern with the amount of games he's played. I think he played all of last year, and with the World Cup coming up as well. But I think we need to tread carefully with both of them.
Still, I think.
But we do need to be careful with those two, because I think, especially with them being so young, and like we said with the Lukonga, like, it is the perfect opportunity to, if you are wanting to rest, now's the time. Get players like Smith Rowe, who are more than capable and just need the minutes. It would be nice to see Vieira off the bench. Obviously, I'm not expecting him to start, but it'd be really nice to see him come off the bench, just so we can see him. I mean, I don't expect too many changes.
Bit of a rest.
Yeah, I mean, I don't expect him to be rested from the start, but I think that's what we really need as well. Is we need to just similar to the Bournemouth, we just need to end the game in the first half and be able to make those 5 changes and cruise to victory. That didn't happen last year, and it affected how we made changes. So this year, that's something we need to see. And there's a couple of players on the bench who need the minutes coming into this really big period. So I don't expect too many changes from the starting lineup, but I do hope that we'll see a few different changes. In the second half, players haven't necessarily been getting the minutes.
And maybe earlier.
Maybe earlier. Maybe when we're 5-0 up at the 30th minute mark, we'll see an early change.
Well, here's hoping, but let's not get carried away.
I was going to say, that's not my prediction. I'm just going to say that. I'll reserve that for later. Unless that happens, then yes, I'll be claiming it. But I don't expect that to be the case.
We'll get to the FPL so we can look at your predictions.
I haven't got it there, but let me put it up on the screen. I guess I'll share my screen and where is it? You've had a good week from what I see.
Yeah, haven't had a good start this week though.
But no, it's looking good. I mean, it's nice to have so many involved, and engaged, and it's nice and tight at the top, which is good to see.
Definitely, and there's a long way to go. So
there is.
No one's out of it yet.
I'm just giving you guys a head start. Let you think,
Playing the long game.
You're nice and comfortable, and I'll wait for you guys. I don't need to do well. I just need to wait for you guys to give up.
You'll just charge down the home straight.
So here's the top 10 after the weekend. I don't know if you can see that very well. So, you're still in the top 10, mate. So you're doing much better than I am. My mate Zahn's still there. I've told him if he keeps going that, he's going to be uninvited next time because he is Australian. He was invited by me. So I think that might be cause for disqualification as well, isn't it, being Australian?
Well, I mean, I'm pretty sure you did say that the prizes are only available for domestic consumption.
And the good thing is he won't see this, so we can say whatever we like. But no, like I said, very tight at the top, which is good. I think I got the right slide. So no, I don't actually. That's the wrong slide. I'm sorry, that's the wrong slide. Let's try this one. Sorry to Scott. You are on top of the league. But you actually that's actually better for you, Corey. You've moved up one.
Yeah. I don't think I'll be moving up this week.
I've already gone through an update of the table from last night, and that was good night for me.
I've got too many Chelsea players, which is one.
I keep going up. I'm updating the tables, and I get the hunch that there's a few people in this league that don't understand fantasy. There's one in there that, unless they've paid their money in the sole purpose of trying to get the new wooden spoon, there's possibly a few of them that have, I think, made about 20 changes already to their lineups. So, I think there's a few people here either gunning for a new wooden spoon or don't quite understand the fantasy league. But no, it is nice and tight at the top. Good to see. But I've got plenty of time to catch up. So,
as is everybody.
As is everyone, but
long way to go.
Other than that, though, we've got. Let's finish off the Villa chat with your prediction for the game. What were you thinking?
3-1.
3-1 to Arsenal, I assume.
Actually, no. 3-0.
3-0.
I think the boys deserve a clean sheet.
Yeah, I think I feel good about clean sheet. I will go 4-0. More in the hope that I need the goals from Jesus and Martinelli for my fantasy. But I think a good, nice, comfortable win with early goals to just settle everything down and kill off game early would be nice.
And moving into the weekend and the deadline day and all that would be helpful.
Yeah. So I guess quickly touching on that, transfers. Do you reckon anything's coming in? Do you think anything's going out? We've got 2 days to go.
Yeah, it's now it's just a massive question of priorities. We were evidently looking at wingers, or we have been looking at wingers, and that's pretty understandable and obvious, given where we're at, particularly on the right-hand side. But I guess the big question now is, do we strengthen in midfield?
Yeah, well, it definitely doesn't seem like it's going to be, just a week off for El Neni, and possibly not for Partey either.
No.
And even if it was just a short term for Partey, I think we've got to the stage where maybe we just can't rely on, especially if El Neni's out, him being our sole defensive midfielder in the squad.
Definitely.
Do you have any names that you can think of? I mean, he's not a defensive midfielder, but it seems like Tillmans is just sitting there waiting for us, right? It seems like the easy one for a midfielder.
Yeah, he's the low-hanging fruit. In saying that, I guess Leicester are now going, oh, okay, we can keep that price back up around 40 million, which is ridiculous. Whereas I could see us just leaving it until either January or the end of the season when his contract's run out.
Yeah, I guess if we're really interested and keen on him, it'll depend on if anyone else tries to come in for him.
Yeah.
I've seen reports that maybe Liverpool or United, but it definitely, is the low-hanging fruit, isn't it?
I mean, Chelsea's in for everybody, but
Maybe that's why we've tried to
often.
like stop announcing who we're after to the last minute, just to sort of keep Chelsea out of the race.
Yeah, who knows? I mean, they can't sign everyone. They are going pretty close to it, but
I haven't heard anything I haven't heard anything on the Aubameyang this week. I don't know if that's still happening.
Yeah, apparently they're still trying to, he got robbed and burgled or something though. So
I saw that. I mean, you don't want to make jokes about it, but I thought that was a bit harsh of Barcelona to, I know they're tight on money, but you shouldn't be robbing your own players, should you?
Exactly. So go back to London, mate. Get out of here. We shouldn't make jokes about it, even though we might. But yeah, getting back to midfielders in terms of names, there's a lot out there, but none that I've really seen specifically. How about you?
Yeah, I'm not really spreading my eyes out too far into the world of football. I mean, that was one sort of thing I wanted to try and do this year was access to a lot more games, is try and watch some more of the other leagues going around, but I haven't really had a chance, which sort of leaves you a bit of in the dark when it comes to trying to come up with names. I can't think of anyone, like I said, except for the low-hanging fruit of Tillmans. I'm sure there's plenty out there, but I think I heard, not that I've ever seen him play, and I don't even know where he plays, to be honest. Was it a player called Denilson that was supposedly being linked with in the past? Let me bring it up here. Is it Denilson or something along those lines? But yeah, I haven't seen much going around in terms of rumors online, and I can't think of any obvious targets. Which the way we're doing our business these days may mean nothing.
Yeah. Well, look at this time last year.
Yeah,
I mean, we were sitting here thinking, "Oh, who are we going to get? We haven't heard anything. We're going to get anyone. We're going to overpay for that goalkeeper." I guess the big thing is with the injuries is the profile of who we were probably seriously looking at bringing in may have changed.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice to have a bit of clarity as well where the club's coming from. Like, we know exactly what they're thinking, kind of, in a sense. Like, whether you believe it or not, like, they're very clear on, they want business, but they want to do the right business. So,
and that's reassuring. We aren't just going to go and spend 50 million on someone who's then going to want 200 grand a week.
Who was it?
On a 5-year contract.
Who was it the other day? I saw we were linked with someone. I think I shared it in our group chat, didn't I? Who was the typical Arsenal sort of signing of previous years.
Yeah.
Big wages, past his prime. Who was it? Who was it I shared? I can't remember now. I should look back.
I don't know. I'm scrolling. It wasn't David Seaman.
But yeah, I mean,
Scott Parker. Maybe it could be Scott Parker now. He's looking for a job.
Yeah, that was crazy, wasn't it? I mean, apparently it was because he spoke out against the club and the transfer policy, but you can't come up from the championship, face probably the three best teams in the league at the moment, and think, well, you're out of here. Especially when he won the other game.
You kind of can, though. I mean, he obviously, I mean, he's having conversations with the owner. The owner's saying, "Look, dude, this is how it is. This is what our plan is. This is what we've got. Yes, it's shit, but I can't just magic 50 million or 300 million."
Funny though. Like you seem to see that all the time with every manager, though, don't you? Like, they'll go to the press conference and they'll complain about. You see Conte do it. You see Mourinho, I guess they've got a bit of to back themselves up on. But
Yeah.
you seem to see managers do it all the time. To
You
come
don't
out
see
and say,
Frank Lampard do it.
you don't see him do anything, do you?
I haven't seen Mike McAllister do it.
No, but I think
you
he's
don't see
been back
many
well
young,
enough to.
inexperienced managers doing it because they haven't got the runs on the board.
I guess Arteta and his he's kind of been backed, so he can't really have too many complaints. But
De Jong, you were talking about.
Oh, De Jong, yeah. No, he wasn't. I don't think he was the one I meant. But yeah, he was one that he's in London for a wedding or something. But yeah, he's here. He's in London. Get it done, Edu.
That's like anyway, another winger, Julian Draxler. I think we get linked to every.
Yeah, it would have been something like that. That I can't think of who it was. Oh, I know who it was. It was Atletico Madrid. Griezmann.
Oh, that's right.
I don't know. Yeah. I don't know where the Griezmann links come from, but yeah, that is definitely not going to be something that happens. I don't think.
No.
For a 31-year-old who doesn't score any goals anymore.
Definitely not.
Who's probably going to be on high wages. Don't see that one happening.
Massive wages. It'd be a great Chelsea
I think 2 or 3 years ago that would be a possible signing for Arsenal, but yeah,
could have been.
Not now. 4-2 from whoever is managing the Arsenal New Zealand page tonight. I hope it's not a tight 4-2. I don't need a tense wake up in the morning. I mean, that could be Mike managing the page because I know he doesn't know what fantasy league. I know he doesn't know what he's doing, so it could be Mike.
He's just out of himself.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it's going to be an interesting couple of days. It could be very busy, could be very quiet.
Just back to the fantasy for a minute. Are you one of those that don't know what they're doing? Or you do know what you're doing? You're just playing a strategy? I
will not claim to know what I'm doing. I mean, I know how to do fantasy, but I don't know how to win fantasy.
Okay.
If that, if you get me, like I know how to not lose 20 points in a week for making transfers.
You know how to register, get an account.
Yeah. But I don't know how to win. I don't know how to win fantasy. Yeah.
Okay. I think very few do.
I think there's definitely some in there that know what they're doing. It's not Mike, but forgive me. Yeah, but anyway, it's going to be an interesting couple of days. But you got anything you want to talk about? We had group stage Europa League. I had that in there to talk about. You like the group we got?
Oh, it's a very Europa League group. Not surprisingly.
Yeah. I mean, it's decent trips away if you're an away fan. Like, I think Norway, the top of Norway would be an interesting one.
It could be interesting in all sorts of ways.
PSV, definitely Mike would like that one. Yeah. But no, I mean, we should be topping that group, right?
Of course we should be.
Good enough. All right. Yeah. We'll see. We'll hold you to it. Anything else you want to mention?
No, not really. I'm just excited to get through the next couple of days, and it's, I guess, circling back to what you were talking about at the beginning with the injuries and stuff like that. It's, for me now, it's with a sense of anticipation and intrigue rather than dread, which it has been in previous years.
Yes.
It's like, what are we going to cock up now?
And look, it's nice to have this, isn't it? Like, from being sort of the last couple of years, especially since we've been doing the podcast, sort of been, really involved in football and watching Arsenal. It's really been tough watching, but to be excited to watch it again, and it's good to, good time to get involved and be a part of the supporters club for that very reason as well, right? Like,
definitely
nice to to meet all the Gunners in New Zealand. I know Mike, who's not here, would have brought it up, but keep an eye out on the pages. We've got North London Derby coming up in October. Looks like we'll have some events going on around the country in Auckland and Christchurch. To be advised. Corey, you going to have anything in Wellington for the North London Derby?
Probably.
Just sorting out a venue.
Yeah. Depends on timing.
Yeah, Wellington's a tough one.
Stupid council. Any stupid council rules.
You got a nice garage at your house with a big TV.
Not yet, but I'm working on
it. What else? We've got the tour almost sold out. So if you want to go to London and watch this team, maybe even get close to watching them lift a title, we won't be there for that, but we'll be watching the last couple games as the run-in. But if you're wanting to go to London next year and watch this team and get amongst it all, there's still one spot left. So if you're interested in that, definitely.
Is it true that the FPL league winner's going to get the last spot on the trip?
That depends. If I win, absolutely. But yeah, email me and let me know because there's one spot left. It's going to be incredible. Spoke to the group that are going. There's 9 of us, and really good bunch of guys who are going over. So it's going to be a great 2 weeks watching football. There's going to be all sorts of stuff going on in the next, hopefully, couple months with some maybe giveaways and other stuff. So yeah, it's a good time to be involved in the supporters club. We've got the new sort of updated website to check out if you want to sign up yourself as a member. It's free of charge. If you're over in London by yourself, you can apply for match tickets. I think they've only missed out on. Yeah, I mean, I think we've only missed out on one ticket out of all the matches so far that we've been approved for, which was the North London Derby, which you'd kind of expect. So really good sort of record of getting tickets. So if you are in London, hit us up for those as well. But yeah, any last words, Corey?
Nothing too deep and meaningful. Just excited for the next few days and see what happens. Bring it on.
Absolutely. We didn't actually even mention it because I'm getting it's nice having so many games in a row. But we've got United on the weekend. I think Monday morning. You guys maybe do a podcast later in the week, or
maybe.
Maybe. Never know.
I'll be around. So
when football's being played this well, you just want to talk about it, right?
Exactly.
Wonderful. Yeah, all right, mate. Thanks for joining me, and thanks everyone who's joined in. And yeah, we'll catch you next week. Up the Gunners.
It makes sense. Come on, the Arsenal.
Flick off your jandals, crack a cold one from the chili bin, chuck on some cans, and enjoy a Kiwi take on all things Arsenal.